Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie, and today I've got a brand new workshop to share with you. I'll be using the Cape Cod paper collection and of course a few embellishments here that I have on my desk. Let's look at the sticker sheet right here. It's got really great opportunities for titles. I know I'm going to use them. And then I've just fanned all of the gorgeous pattern paper here that I'm going to use. I'm also going to bring in this digital collection right here, and in the workshop guide it's going to take you step by step on how to add all of these gorgeous icons on your layout. If you want to see how I've reimagined this layout right here, I have a full-length tutorial video. It's going to be listed down below, and I walk you through how to upload these on a PC, how to drag them into Design Space. You can also use your silhouette and then get started and change up some colors and some sizes. It's a nice introduction on how to use SVGs in your projects. I also want to show you some of these great embellishments here. These are super pretty and they come in a variety of material if you want. This one here, take a look at that. Look at the details on this beautiful little coral. So these are more like craft if you want, and they pop out really easily. This one here is more of the paperboard and it's done a little bit thicker. It seems a little thicker to me. Not much though. And then look at these ones here. These are so pretty. So you've got here, you can see that I've opened up my bag. You've got a variety of these shapes and they have really nice little details in all of them. So these are going to make an appearance. This workshop will include 6 single page or 3 double page layout. And because I took the time to do this digital one right here, all of the instructions will be included for this bonus layout here. You can see that I've been really busy cutting all of my Cricut pieces and prepping all of my layouts. Now these little images here are really pretty, and they are also very intricate. So I'm going to show you how to cut these and be successful when you cut all of your images. They have all been sized for the layouts, and they have all been sized so that you can actually be successful when cutting all of these images. This is one of the layout. It hasn't been glued together. We're going to move on to the next one here. This is the other layout that has been prepped, and you can see that this sailboat, again, very intricate and very pretty. So I'm going to show you how to be successful in cutting those images. And then we have this one right here. And you know what? I think this is my favorite layout of all. These ones here were a little tricky to cut, I'm not going to lie. So you have 4 pieces. You've got the light side and the dark side. And when you put them all together, it does look really good. But they are a little finicky to cut. As a bonus layout, you will also get this included in the workshop. And basically this is a ready-to-go layout that has been modified to, again, make it a little bit easier when you are cutting them on your Cricut. Let's go through the highlights for layout number 1, and you can see that I've done quite a bit of assembly right here, but I'm going to show you how I took these very plain images and transformed them into something a little bit more, just by adding a little bit of ink. Take a look at this starfish right here. I was totally inspired by my very good friend Erin. I really love the way that by simply adding stickles and a little bit of liquid pearls, you can transform these very plain shapes into something else. You can see right here, I've got this blue shell and then this sand dollar. So we're going to go through some of the highlights on how to make these so much prettier with just a little bit of stickles and some ink. So for this one right here, so for my palm tree, I did add a little bit of toffee ink just to kind of make it blend more with my page. Now there's a lot of pieces back there, but we'll get to those in a minute. And then take a look at this little crab. Again, lots of pieces, but when we add a little bit of ink and a little bit of shimmer and shine, everything is so much better. Now for these shapes here, you can cut them on your Cricut, you can use intricate cut, or you can also use the mirror image, which kind of hides the white core of the Close to My Heart cardstock. Now for this bottom layer here, I'm going to add a little bit of Lagoon ink on the top of his little head, and then I'm just going to go all on the back side of this piece. And if you add the top layer, just that little touch alone brings it to life. But I thought I'd bring in a little bit of toffee ink and add it at the top right here, right on his little snout. And I'm also going to drag that onto his belly. And that's not a lot of work, but it packs a punch. It looks really, really good just by doing a little bit of ink distressing. We're going to do the same thing here with the top layer. Now this one's a little bit more delicate, so you have to have a light touch. And I'm going to add some right here at the top and on his belly, of course. And then when we layer all of that together, it just looks really, really good. So it's an added step if you want, but I think it is totally worth it. So we're going to line this guy up, and I found that by lining him up from the belly, everything seems to fall into place, and it just looks so, so good. So we're going to move right along because I want to show you some of the highlights for all of these pieces. So the same thing here for the palm tree. I added a little bit of Lagoon ink on the back piece, and then I brought in a little bit of toffee ink on those front pieces. Now if you start right here at the bottom, you'll see that these pieces line up perfectly. You might have a little trouble finding which ones go where. It is a little tricky, but for the most part, they line up really, really nicely. Let's take a look at the little crab. This one here was a lot of fun to make. And when I cut this piece here, I didn't have enough cardstock on my Cricut, and I thought, you know what? I really don't need these little legs. Sorry, crab, but we're going to cut these off, and we're going to top it off with this light side of the bluebird cardstock. And I found that it made it a lot easier just to line up all of those pieces. So once again, I'm coming in with some ink on the top of his little claws, and then at the bottom of his feet here, I'm adding a little bit of toffee ink. Not too much, but just enough to give it more dimension and kind of tone down the blue if you want. So with this one here, it's Lagoon, and I'm going to go right here at the top again where those pieces join together. So I'm going to add a little bit of Lagoon ink, and it just brings out the whole image. Well, that's what I think anyways. And here I'm adding it to the periwinkle, and if you would have told me before this that I would be doing Lagoon and periwinkle and mixing it all together, I don't think I would have thought about that. So it's nice that Close to My Heart puts out all of these great kits for us, or these paper packs that the cardstock match, everything matches, and it's just really great to work with all of them. Now this one here, I was showing you that on the front side, it kind of looked a little messy. And when I flipped it over, I actually did the mirror image, and you don't see all of that white cardstock. I went in at the bottom with a little bit of toffee ink, and then I'm just going to top it off right here with, again, Lagoon ink. And just by adding those two colors, you have more dimension, and it just looks really great. So we're going to add a little bit more of toffee ink right here at the bottom, and then I thought, why not shape it a tiny little bit? So I'm just going to run my shaping tool here right along the outside, and when I add 3D foam tape to this little shell, it's just going to pop off the page. Now, for the fun part, let's add a little bit of stickles. So I'm just going to drag that on with my finger. You can use a brush if you want. I'm not sure why I was using my fingers here, but you know what? It seemed to work fine. So you do get a little messy, but again, totally worth it. For this one right here, I decided to add Lagoon ink to that bottom piece. And you're probably thinking, well, why didn't you just cut that in Lagoon cardstock? it gives it a completely different look. And I was just trying to kind of marry up all of my colors on my layout right here. So I did shape that one as well, and we're going to hit it with a little bit of sparkle and shine with that stickle. And the fun thing is when you rub it in with your finger, it actually goes into all of those little cut pieces and it looks great. Now for this starfish, there's a few little steps, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to add toffee to the back piece right here on all of the ends and in the center of the top piece right here. So I'm going very, very lightly. I still want to see the periwinkle, but I want to add dimension and lots of color. So I'm going to go in right here with a little bit of lagoon on all of the ends. I'm going to glue those two pieces together. And they fit perfectly. So I'm just going to tap those into place. And then I'm going to shape it. I guess these are kind of like little flowers if you want. They look really good flat, but they look awesome when they are have dimension to them. So you're going to start right here in the center of the starfish, and you're going to add bigger little drops if you want. There's 5 of them. And then you're going to go along all of the little legs or arms. I'm not sure. Are they arms or legs? Who knows? You're going to go down all the way and you're going to add 3 smaller little dots. And I found that that just made it look really, really cool. Now we're going to have to set it aside to dry, but take a look at this completed layout. I love all the dimension. I love these seashells. That glitter, Erin, was a brilliant idea, and I'm so glad that I was inspired to use it on my project right here. The starfish look great, the seahorse look great, the title here has been embellished with a few of those really nice embellishments, and take a look at that crab. Isn't he great? I love that starfish. It looks so good. And I love my little crab. So I hope that you like this first layout here, and we're going to move right along to layout number 2. For layout number 2, I want to show you here that little sailboat is all of these pieces actually are very intricate, and I want you to see the condition of my mat. It is not completely new. It's just at that right point where I can lift things off without ripping them. Now this is the front and this is the back. I'm actually going to use the back side because once again, I did that mirror image. You see here, I'm flipping that over, and I just find that you don't see the white as much, but you know what? You're going to be inking those anyways, so it really doesn't really matter if you don't use the mirror image. For this little sailboat, I found that you really don't have to glue everything down. You really just have to do right here a little bit of glue right at the top. So I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to work from the back side. I'm going to add a little bit of glue right here at the top, and I'm going to put those sails right on, and you'll see that they just sit there really, really nicely. And once this is in a page protector, it really isn't going to matter. So I'm going to glue that right at the top. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to line it up with the bottom right here. And then I'm just going to kind of sneak a little bit of glue right here in the center. And I'm going to line that up. I'm just going to push that into shape. And that's all it really needs. And this is not going on a card, it's going on a scrapbook layout. It's going to be covered by a page protector. I just found that it was easier and I didn't have a big glue mess at the end. So take a look at my little sailboat. Now you see that it's not all tacked down, but I think that this is good enough for what I'm using it for here. Now, the starfish, we're going to bring that in again. So these 2 pieces that are quite plain. And then we have these shells here. And these shells here were really, really small. So I decided to use the score function on my Cricut. And look at that. You have all of the details without all of the fuss. So we're going to ink those up. And I'm going to start again with toffee right here at the bottom. And when I add the ink, you can actually see the score lines even more. So that's a bonus. So We're going to add that right at the bottom, and then the same thing like the little one we did. I'm going to add some toffee ink on all of the edges for this back piece, and then the top piece, I'm only adding that into the center. Now, I'm not going to add the liquid pearls on this one because I felt that the scale of it was a little bit too big. Don't forget to clean off your surface in between the colors so that you don't contaminate them. And we're going to add here a little bit of lagoon right at the top. And for this one here, I'm going in very lightly. I just want to expose those little score lines. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add it to the tips. We're going to glue this together and we're going to just pop that in. And just like that, this looks really good compared to just the flat images that we started off with. And look at that. Let me zoom in for you. You can totally see all of those score lines, and I didn't have to fuss and worry about if my Cricut was going to be able to cut that small shell. It worked out perfectly. So again, I'm going to give it a little bit of shaping right here, my shaping tool. I really like that by just doing that simple step, it gives it instant dimension when you add your 3D foam dots in bag. Now, before shaping this little starfish, I'm going to add a little bit of stickles. And again, I'm just going in with my fingers and I'm just kind of pushing it in to this image, and it looks really good. Let's not forget this little guy right here. We're going to set those aside. We're going to let them dry, and let's take a look at the completed layout. Once again, let's take a look at all of these great shapes right here. Just by adding a bit of shimmer and shine and ink, they look fantastic, and I hope that you agree. Let's take a look at this one right here. I love this large anchor, and then you've got the little sailboat right here, lots of embellishments and a few stickers here and there. Love how this layout turned out too. So we're going to move right along to layout number 3. For layout number 3, the first thing you'll see is that I've made a few changes. Right here, my pineapples have been cut in different colors. I originally cut them in the same color. That's how the SVG image comes in. But then I thought, you know what? I want to change that up a tiny little bit. Again, I want to show you the condition of my mat, and I did use the mirror image to cut these out. They are very intricate, but if you still have a little bit of white showing through, or if you forgot to do the mirror image, I'm going to show you how to hide all of those. I was pointing out to you here that I am using a dome foam tool, not a blender brush, and I am pouncing on this right at the top. I'm adding a whole bunch of ink, and look at that. It covers all of those little nasty white parts that you don't want to see when you put these together. And it looks fantastic. So I'm going to do the same thing with the top layer of that pineapple, and I'm literally just pouncing on here. I am not rubbing because those are really intricate pieces, but just by adding a little bit of ink, everything pops so much more. We're going to glue those pieces together, and I like to sit them underneath a block or a book or something just to make sure everything is nice and glued down together. And you can see that I'm just using regular glue here. I start from the bottom and I'm gonna try and line it up, and it doesn't line up perfectly right away, and that's okay. You can lift it up and then you kind of pinch all the top leaves together, and it works out really nice. I'm really glad that I took the time to change the color on these because they look really good this way. Of course, adding stickles to this pineapple was a must. It just looks so good. So I'm just adding a few dots right here on the bottom layer if you want, and I'm just kind of pushing it on with my fingers, and it just looks good. I don't know about you guys, but pineapples are like the happy fruit, right? They remind you of summer vacation, parties, all of the things. So we're almost done here with this layout. I just want to show you very quickly these little coral pieces. I'm adding periwinkle right here at the bottom, and it just again gives them a little bit more dimension and style, and they look great. And let's not forget the stickles. Of course not. We've been stickle happy all project long, right? But it looks really good. It's that one extra little step that makes this project great. So we're going to add it on both of these pieces, set them aside, let them dry, and then let's take a look at this layout. And I did say at the beginning that I think this is my favorite layout because you know what? It's got so many great things, from the stickers to the embellishments to those awesome pineapples. And I love the way that this kind of runs across the two pages, from the pictures to these guys right here. It just looks really, really good. Now, if you're interested in this workshop and you want to create these beautiful pages for yourself, I will link all of that information down below. I walk you through step by step on how to cut all of these pieces and color them in. And I also included this gorgeous layout. Now, that is a separate video and it will be listed down below. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It goes a long way. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.